everyone. I am Yunanto Utomo, and here I will present my study about fuzzy AHP-TOPSIS method based TrFN for new normal problem. Introduction: Coronavirus disease, or we call it COVID-19, can be transmitted to human and rapidly develop into world pandemic. The government of each country use different strategies to deal with the pandemic, such as lockdown or closing national border from the other countries. The Indonesian government has implemented an emergency response period for handling COVID-19. Since March 2020, the continue of this program is New Normal program. New Normal program is a new pattern of life where, when the people active outside, they require to keep their distance, wear masks, and do not gather, and often wash or clean their hands. However, obstacles arise in the implementation of the program, namely the readiness of each region. While the method used are fuzzy AHP and fuzzy TOPSIS to assist in making decisions about the readiness of an area to implement the new normal program. The first method, we use Fuzzy Analytical Hierarchy Process. The step 1, determine the best alternative among the existing alternatives by considering the criteria to be used. The selection of the best alternative will be based on the construction of a hierarchy system. Step 2, determination of the weight that will be the Trapezoidal Fuzzy Number or TrFN with the fuzzy linguistic, namely equal, moderate, strong, very strong, and extremely strong, with the value as follow, like that. And the step 3, determine the weight for each criteria. Use an built pairwise compression metric to show the preference the one of criteria over another criteria. Step 4, we will use synthetic pairwise compression using the geometric mean method defined as follow that, and the weight for each criteria is determined like this by the normalizing the metric. We got the weight of criteria. Next, we will use the second method or fuzzy technique for order performance by similarity to ideal solution, or we call it fuzzy TOPSIS. Step 1, determine the appropriate alternative to evaluate the criteria and assign a group of decision maker. Assume that there are alternative criteria and decision maker. Step 2, determine the appropriate linguistic variable for each criteria, which we use W here, and linguistic ranking for the alternative relate to the criteria Xij as the trapezoidal fuzzy number. Step 3, combine the criteria weight to get an aggregate fuzzy weight. We use W here. Of criteria, we use CG from the fuzzy ranking aggregate of the alternative AE with criteria CG, which has been evaluated using fuzzy AHP. Next, step 4, constructing a fuzzy decision matrix. Next, after we have a fuzzy decision matrix, we will normalize that. And we got two type of criteria here. The first step, the first criteria is the benefit criteria, and the second is cost criteria. With this formula, we can get the normalized fuzzy matrix, normalized matrix. The step 6, the normalizing matrix will be calculate and get the normalized weighting as a fuzzy Decision metric with the formula, this formula. And the step 7, finding the value of the positive ideal solution S plus and the fuzzy negative ideal solution S min, we will get V plus is the maximum of the VEJ4, and the VE min is the minimum of the VEJ1. That's perform distance calculation for each alternative from the fuzzy positive ideal solution, or we call it D plus, and the fuzzy negative ideal solution, we call it D min. D is distance. The formula for distance is like this. And the last step 9, here we will use the calculation of uh, proximity coefficient, or we call it CC, and the ranking for each alternative is DE min divided with DE plus DE min, with E is from 1 until M. The result and discussion. This paper used case study of the positive patient in the province of the Central Java, Indonesia. The variable used are number of the positive patient treated, positive patient who recovered, positive patient who died, and people who have interacted with the positive patient, or we call it suspect. The data is taken from the corona.jateng.prof.go.id, and the data used is August 2, 20 and 21. The Fuzzy Analytical Hierarchy Process method used to find the weight value for each criteria, and the Fuzzy TOPSIS method used to find the area that are safe or ready to carry out the new normal program. This is the weight of criteria from the Fuzzy AHP calculation. And next, this is the CC value, or proximity value, criteria value from the F-TOPSIS calculation. We got Salatiga with the highest value here. And the conclusion, the research has provided information about agencies or cities that are eligible to implement the new normal program using the Fuzzy AHP and Fuzzy TOPSIS method. The result of the Fuzzy TOPSIS method show the only 20% of the district or cities are ready to implement the program based on the data of August 2, 2021. This include several areas that are still under consideration. This consideration can be based on the CC calculation on the next day. From the result, it can be seen that criteria for death and patient who will treated greatly affect whether the criteria is ready or not to implement the new normal program. While the criteria for positive patient who recovered as evidence of the readiness of the medical personnel, or health facilities in the area. From the result of this calculation, the government needs to take restrictive steps or the like because there are still many regions that are not ready to implement the new normal program. That's all, and thank you.